Elementary School. I'm going to let Ms. Nina Flannery, our ex-clerk and board president, come up and introduce
Nina Flannery, Nassau Academy. Here tonight, though, as president of the Highlands Elementary School Board of Education. I have a few guests with me this evening. One, Dr. Susan Compton, who is the superintendent of the Tri-District Schools. If you know anything about the Tri-District, it's composed of Highlands Elementary, Atlantic Highlands Elementary, and Henry Regionals. She hails from the great state of Kentucky and brings with her her PhD in education. We are very happy to have her with us tonight. We have
That's okay.
Dan Lodgren, who is the supervisor of curriculum and instruction. And he has a presentation to make for you right now, though. I would like Dr. Compton to speak in a few words.
I'd like to say a few words. First of all, appreciation to the council for letting us come tonight and tell you what is going on here at Highlands Elementary, and also how much we appreciate your support. The good news tonight that I bring is there are no tax increases. And that is something that is very important for the community, and we realize that. And we work very diligently, not only for Highlands, but also for Atlantic Highlands. It's a wonderful opportunity for me to serve as the Tri-District Superintendent. As Ms. Flannery has said, I come from Kentucky. We're not just about Kentucky Wildcat basketball and the University of Louisville and the Kentucky Derby. But I would like to say that it truly is a privilege to be here. I started in September, and it's just been a wonderful experience. And I want to tell you that we are really working together strongly with the cohesiveness with all three school districts, working together, making a seamless K-12 curriculum. We're really excited about the great things that are happening here at Highlands. One of the things for next year that we're going to be doing, we're expanding and adding a STEM academy, which I know you've heard quite a bit about science, technology, engineering, and math. And it's been the push for several years across the nation. We are going to have a STEM academy here in this school here at Highlands, and we're really excited about it. It'll also give us an opportunity to work and expand gifted education as well. So any child that would come into Highlands, whether it's special needs or extremely gifted and talented, that this school can meet the needs of all children. The other good news is the fact that enrollment is very stable here. Before Sandy was around 180-some children. Now we're 176, and we are holding strong. So that means so much, because Atlantic Highlands is alive and well, and it's going to survive and it's going to prevail. So in saying that, I just want to let you know that we are moving forward to the next level of academic excellence, and you're going to be so impressed with what Mr. Dan Lodgren, who is our supervisor of curriculum and instruction, is going to present tonight. We've been in the process of doing strategic planning, and you know as a council the importance of strategic planning, whether it's a corporate organization, a university, or a school system. Because strategic planning is looking at where you're going to be 3 to 5 years and what is the vision. And I was hired to bring cohesiveness and to really expand upon rigor and great academic programs. And you know what? You've got great kids here in all three schools, and it truly is a pleasure to be here. It's great for Dan to be back, because Dan went to elementary school a few years here, and he's a graduate of Henry Hudson. He's an extremely intelligent man, and we're very fortunate that he was hired to come back to his home district. So Dan's going to really wow you with strategic planning for Highlands Elementary and great things that are going on. Thank you.
Wow, I didn't know I was going to wow anybody tonight. This is great. I hope I do. So thank you for that very kind introduction, and thank you, Nina Flannery, for just leading us and being a great board member for us. And thank you for having us. I will say, a couple of weeks ago we had our strategic planning meeting, and the idea is that we brought different constituents together to help steer where we want to go. One thing the state of New Jersey has done this year, and really building up to this year, and many states across the country, is we've changed our teacher evaluation system. And one component that is central to that is and tested areas for certain teachers who have had a student who has taken a test the previous year and will take a similar test this year. So that's grades 4 through 8, math and language arts. one component of their effectiveness rating, they'll get an effectiveness rating, those teachers, well, all teachers will, is the growth that a student shows. In fact, all teachers will have a growth score, but what I'm about to show you, one part of the presentation is the state test growth score. Highlands Elementary School did better than any school like Highlands Elementary School in the state of New Jersey, and overall in the state of New Jersey, we were in the 95th percentile, so 470 something school districts. We were in the 95th percentile, only 5% of the schools did better at growth. So what does that mean? That means when a student comes to us and they start at point A, we take them farther to a point B than almost everybody. And that's a testament to just perseverance. Our teachers work so hard to get the most out of our students. So let me show you that. That's why growth is the first word I want you to see. So that was a good theme for us at the strategic planning. This takes everyone. And we read our mission statement there. I don't know if you want me to read that. Do you want to read that, Dr. Conklin?
That's okay. I think it summarizes everything about the foundation of the school and what it's about. The balanced curriculum, which is now, of course, the national standards. Common Core, you've heard so much about in math and language arts. And then, too, that we're going to support the children with opportunities to build self-esteem, individual growth.
I think we'll put this on our website so
Yes,
you
we
can all read all the details. So we have some nice pictures here. We talked about what our school is composed of. So we have 24 regular teachers, child study team members, counselor, school nurse. I left librarian off there. I realized our media center specialist should also be on there, so I apologize to her when I saw her. Superintendent, business administrator, principal, supervisor of curriculum and instruction, and special services. You'll notice all of these shared positions, cost-saving measures that allow us also to have consistency among the 3 schools that our students attend. A school rooted in its community. We're fiscally responsible. We're always trying to keep taxes low and get the most for our money. We collaborate with local law enforcement. We hold town council meetings here. Our rec program has been here since Sandy. CPC counseling services take place here. Another connection to the community is we celebrate the James T. White Award every year. It's been very successful, and it's sort of a hallmark experience for 6th graders before we go to Henry Hudson. And this great new development, you might have heard about this one, and that is our new learning garden. Well, you saw it on the way in. it's in its initial stages, but thanks to Nancy Burton and the grant that she won for us and the research that she's done, our students, we've just begun to undertake a program where our students will get out into the garden and literally learn science, learn math, write poetry, really do you name it in the garden, and it becomes more experiential and more meaningful to them. And it's a beautiful thing once it gets going. We've seen some great examples in the area. Atlantic Highlands has one. I know that they're building some in Middletown as well. And we're very excited about this. And plus, there's more growth, so that was great. There's Nancy, by the way. I don't know if anybody saw that. There's Nancy. I noticed that after I made the PowerPoint. Supports for growth. We have outstanding instruction from our staff. I think I spoke about that. I don't know if you know it, but we have virtually a one-to-one laptop program. Our students really have access to a lot of great new technology here. Smart boards in every room, document cameras in every room. We have a rigorous curriculum. We're always aligning it to the standards. That's why we have done so well with the growth on our state test scores. Strong PTO. We do cool things like go on the 6th grade class trip. And recently we had ambassadors from China in our 3 schools here in Highlands Elementary. We did a cultural exchange with a school from Louisiana that adopted us after they saw what we were going through with Sandy, and they had lived through something like that with Katrina. It was powerful. We Skyped with the students there, and then their principal came up here and gave us a check. That was very nice and helped us go to Washington last year. The fruits of our labor. These are the test scores. Right? So that's the state report. I'm going to zoom in on it a little bit right here. Basically, language arts, 100th percentile when compared to our peers, schools that are similarly comprised. So that means what's the percentage of students of special education, English language learners, and free and reduced lunch. So those are factors that do impact test scores. Those are factors you have to deal with when raising test scores. Of schools like that, like ours, we were the best. And then all schools statewide, we were in the 95th percentile. Very few schools showed the amount of improvement on those state tests as our students do. So, a student comes to us where they are, and we take them all, and our teachers took them farther than anybody. So we're very, very proud of that. That's why we're here tonight. We think people have an understanding of Highlands Elementary School that isn't accurate. There's a perception that this isn't a great place. It is a great place. This is a great place for your children to go to school. And so that's why we're here telling you this tonight, because I think you guys know it. You're really involved in the town, but some people don't know it. Some people believe, schools were closing down. They're not. Our enrollment is strong. We're planning for the next 5 years. We're very excited. Had a family argument with my brother about it. I said, no, I would know. I have a job next year. We're talking about 5 years. It's good. So please feel free, if you hear those rumors, to tell people to stop saying them, because they're not true. We are excited about where we are and where we're headed, and we're doing a pretty good job. We plan to do better. We're never satisfied. We're not going to sit here and go, we're happy with our test. We always want to do better with our test scores, but our teachers are knocking themselves out, and our students are showing tremendous growth. So we're proud. See, look how proud they look. Pumpkin. With the lights off, you can see this a little bit better. So where do we go from here? And this is what the theme of a couple of Saturdays was, let's steer the ship and let's grow together. And that's what we have to share with you tonight. So thank you very much for checking it out. Please talk up Highlands Elementary School.
The subject of the perception of the elementary school came up in some of these meetings, right? And one of your biggest detractors is the real estate group in general. All right, they have a negative perception. Right. They sell they have a hard time in their mind selling against it. All right, and I would suggest you do a similar presentation to a real estate group.
And we did recently this year, but we'll do it again. We didn't have the PowerPoint, but we had our principal with a group of real estate agents in the building, talking to them and getting brochures, talking up. But you're right, we can't do that enough.
That's what we've discussed in regard to one of the realtors that we're going to get with some of their monthly meetings and luncheons and their get-togethers, and showcases the statistics and how with their kids when they graduate from high school. We have one child who's on a full scholarship at Princeton who came from Highlands. And these are the things statistically that we need to show, our movement with STEM Academy and how our schools are ranking. So that's very important. You just nailed it. That's the issue.
But also listen to them. If they bring up something else, let's begin to deal with it as an open dialogue instead of rumor.
Yes, yes,
Exactly.
yes. And work with them, and that's what we plan on doing. That's
Thank
right.
you.
Thank you.
We
Thanks for
appreciate
having
your
us.
support.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. Can I ask a quick question?
Sure.
I see great levels of improvement here, but what is Highland's overall ranking in the state? Do you know they do that like once a year? One of the newspapers does it. It's been a while since I've had.
So they rank high schools in New Jersey monthly every other year. That's usually the flagship of the school district, right? Because you could have 12 elementary schools feeding into a high school. So they'll rank high school. And what they'll do is they'll rank them. So in 2010, Henry Hudson was ranked in New Jersey monthly 121st out of 340 high school districts. In 2012, Henry Hudson was ranked 101st, and this summer it will be ranked again. So New Jersey Monthly does it. Also, U.S. News does it nationally. So they have these national rankings, and again, they'll take a lot of test scores, and it's measures of how many AP courses. In terms of elementary schools, they have the school report card, but that's what this is from. This is the New Jersey School Performance Report for our school, talking about achievement for the previous school year. So they'll do that every year. So this spring, right now, our students are taking New Jersey ESC tests, and there are a lot of other measures as well, but that's one of the measures are those tests. And what they'll do is they'll put it in a whole bunch of really neat charts. But I just was taken aback when I saw that 100%. I wanted people to know that because teachers are now being judged by how much growth their students show. And we have to be the school of schools like our school that's the best at it. People should know that, you know, and of schools that are like our schools that maybe they have a lot more money in their town. Those schools, some of them did better than we did, but some didn't, you know, and we're just extremely proud. You know, so but schools in certain socioeconomic groups, and as I said, special ed, free and reduced lunch, and English language learners, that's how they develop peer groups. So schools that are sort of similar to ours, there's no one doing better than us with growth. Not to say that our test scores are the highest. That would be a detractor. They'll say, well, your test scores are a lot lower, or lower. Well, maybe some of the scores are lower. We have different issues. Do you have the number of special education students that we have? If you do, then you'll be in our peer group. And by the way, we just did better than you. You know. So there are a lot of ways to measure a school's effectiveness. One is a test score. Other things are attendance, and there are a lot of other ways to look at a school, not just test scores. But we're doing pretty well with improvement. What we did show at I'll say one more thing at a recent meeting is students sometimes will start off kind of here, and then if you follow that cohort over the years as they proceed from grades K through 12, this is what happens. They'll start off sometimes low, and that's maybe why we get a lot of that growth, right? And by the time we leave Highlands Elementary School, we're doing better than our peer groups and better than a lot of other schools, so that by the time they leave Henry Hudson, the last 3 years of Henry Hudson on the HASPA, the language arts literacy test for the high school, our proficiency percentages were 93 most recently, the year before that 97, and the year before that 92. So, if we have a high rate of students who are not yet proficient in first or second grade, that's our challenge. We teach the kids who come to us, and that's what we do. And so some other schools, maybe they come in a little higher, but by the time we leave, we're right there with all of them. As I said, I came through the system, I did okay. I didn't go to Princeton, but I did okay. There are a lot of people like me who came through the Henry Hudson school system. I also went to Atlantic Highlands, so I went all through the school. It's crazy. But, so I don't know if I answered your question. We don't really get ranked against elementary schools, other than they measure your growth, they measure your proficiency.
I think it was the high school thing I was thinking about, and my information was old, like from 20 years ago. He was in the top third, it was pretty good.
Yes, that's exactly.
Believe me, there were a lot larger schools with better economic standing and populations that were very upset that we were one of them. It's just
weird. And that was a growth in number of AP. Henry Hudson offers a lot of AP tests.
But we're expanding the amount of AP classes as well.
Which is a measure of rigor. We have a
Technology.
lot of AP that schools consider strong. For a tiny school, and it is a tiny school, we offer a lot of things in that tiny school. So let me stop talking. Thank you so much.
looks like you got a loaded agenda. I'll let you get back to it.
Careful.
next item is the consent agenda.
Chris is in charge.
The next item is the consent agenda.
Does anybody have any items on the consent agenda they'd like to remove?
Just number 6, R14-130, just want to ask Joe about that, if that was looked at properly.
I'm sorry, say that again?
R14-130,
Two handicap parking spots?
yes.
130.
Why would you think it wasn't?
I don't know, but just want to make sure. it's
This
there.
came from a recommendation from Chief
Okay.
Wood.
It just seems like it's close up on Market Street, that's all.
Okay,
It's
the
a
other
tight,
one
it's
is.
a tight,
what
a
is
tight
it,
street.
around the corner from
Yeah.
Swanberg Road.
yeah, it's just a tight area. Just want to make sure. Otherwise, everything else is okay with me.
So do you want to pull it? Is that a motion?
No, that's fine, just as long as it's checked, it's fine. Okay.
Seeing nothing to be called, motion to accept the consent agenda.
I'll make that motion.
Offered by Ms. Ryan,
Yes.
I'll second it,
second by Mr. Redmond. Ms. Ryan?
Yes.
Mr. Redmond?
yes.
Mr. Francis?
Yes.
Motion carries. Moving on to other resolutions, Resolution R14-128, resolution of the Borough of Highlands authorizing special emergency notes for $100,000 for the preparation of a master plan.
Mr. de Blasio, would you talk about this? Why are we doing this now compared to when we're going to spend the money, say, in September or later?
Sure, right. What you're doing here is you're authorizing the CFO to go ahead and go out and borrow the funds. I would do precisely what you said. I would kind of wait and not issue the notes right now. And then once the funds start drawing down, we could go ahead and borrow then. So really we have the option of doing it either way. And the notes are to be repaid back over a 5-year period at $20,000 a year.
And we fully expect to get grants for this master plan study to some degree. People talk about it at this point. I don't know whether Millennium has presented any opportunities for it, but I want to make sure that we take advantage of grants rather than just rely on them.
Yes.
I believe Millennium has been instructed to look for.
Millennium is
Grants.
looking for grants, and also once the SRPR is
What
done,
comes in
that
with it.
potentially opens the door for, I think, up to 50,000 for a master plan. So we're on that track, but we need to still
Yeah, we have to
Get the
stay going,
process.
right. Okay, thank you.
Carol, do we have to have a majority, super majority? We need
Just
four.
so we get back in.
So that we have to table this for the short term?
Yes.
Ordinances, public hearing and adoption, the noise ordinance.
On for second reading, public hearing is ordinance 0-14-13, an ordinance amending section 3-2.3, enumeration of noises to permit the playing of outdoor music until 11 p.m. on Sunday, May 25th, and Sunday, August 31st. This was published in the April 26th edition of the APP and is now ready for a public hearing.
Open up to the public. Ms. Corker?
Kim Skorka, 316 F Shore Drive. I want to know why, once again, the town is encouraging the bars and actually rewarding them for their bad behavior. In the past year in New City, we've had the patrons be overserved. They make a mess of the neighborhood. The cops were called over Clam Fest weekend. They had to call for backup. And their patrons have assaulted our officers. And then you say, here, go ahead. 2 Sundays in the summer, do it, or actually 2 weekends, because I think the ordinance is Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Play your music as loud as you want. When are we going to tell Wind and Sea enough is enough and you can't behave like that?
For all places in town.
I know it's every bar, and they're included in that, but they're the main culprits of the problem. Why do we keep telling them that their behavior is okay? When do we say, you know what, we're not going to do this year because you can't control your patrons?
And Kim, at this point, this ordinance is not about allowing them louder noise at later times.
No, it's just noise later. Whatever they're doing now, they're allowed later.
And that's subject to the normal noise control, which is.
Non-existent.
Huh? Well,
Non-existent in the town at this time.
So, This is the resolution. Are there any other comments?
I still don't understand, because you didn't answer my question.
Mrs. Gorka, we moved on to public comment.
May I make a comment then? Carolyn Brouillon, 12 Miller Street. I live around the corner from Wyndham Sea. I've had people doing all sorts of mischief, including breaking bottles, drinking after hours, fooling around, literally in my yard, outside my yard, on the beach, and what have you. Along with this ordinance, being able to play their music louder and attract more people that would then stay there longer, could we have someone, perhaps part of their security, be in the parking lot or at least around the area between Miller Street and Shrewsbury Avenue that cannot happen? Okay,
Joe?
They can't put anybody that they hire,
outside of
their
their
property.
premises?
I mean, Joe could park a car on the parking lot, no?
you could have police presence there,
Yeah, we can't increase presence.
yes, but he can't put anything out there.
We can't have private security.
So now we
But
have
you
to
could
make-
park a police car in that lot?
You can park your police car in my driveway, I give you full permission. No, I'm serious. Chief, I'm totally 100% serious. Last year, when this happened, I don't even know how many times, I'm sure you guys have it on record, but I called at least 3 or 4 times for people relieving themselves on the beach, fooling around on the beach, vomiting on the road in between Shrewsbury and Miller. And it was this weekend. I'm not saying it has anything to do with music, but the longer that you're playing music, the longer people are there, and the longer these kids are just behaving bad. And you have full carte blanche to put your police car in my driveway. It fits 4 cars anyway, we only have 2.
Just 3 hours, a minute, Sunday night,
Sunday only,
it's 8 to 11.
just the two Sundays.
Are there any more, I'm sorry, Melissa.
Is there any way to do some type of compromise? So basically say, okay, we'll give you Memorial Day, but if there's any bad behavior, you don't get Labor Day. Anything goes wrong, anything, you don't get the extra hours on Labor Day. It incents them to behave better, and it also gives a little carrot out there that if they do behave, they get their extra hours and extra money on Labor Day.
Can we do
Not
that,
that-
Mr.
Well, I
Dupre?
think we can
You can't change it now because you wouldn't be able to have it effective by Memorial Day, but you could obviously change it over the summer to rescind
Right.
the Labor Day.
If there's issues on Memorial Day, we can change it for Labor Day.
Mr. Carr?
In the spirit of trying to resolve the issue, could they require maybe hire a special police officer to the police department who would find out which establishments are having later music? That officer's job is just to go from establishment to establishment, checking up and doing these police officer's duties solely for that project or for that event. Maybe that could be a spirit behind the business partnership, maybe you work with that and coordinate that, or you can help fund that police officer.
Kevin?
Yeah.
Can you respond to that?
I see no reason that we can't have someone there, that's what we're trying to do for the summer anyway.
And we've done that in the past, even on New Year's Eve.
And if I talk to Joe about it, we'll arrange that there will be a patrolman in that area most of the night. Just patrolling Shrewsbury Avenue, Miller Street.
All the bars, I mean.
Well, I know, well, here's the question, the problem is you can't be, most of the problem that we're talking about right now is talking about Wyndham Sea, okay? The other ones would be off the hook most likely in Havana. Okay, that's the 3 right now with music that I think would be, I don't know if Havana has a problem like they have on Shrewsbury and Miller Street, with people coming out and causing problems. I don't think they do. So what I'm trying to do is take the troublesome people that we want to try to do and try to get them calmed down on that area, okay, and just enforce that on that night to work it well. And just another thing too, is I'm going to bring up is that I worked with met with Joe and Steve this week. We're looking at a different type of noise enforcement for town. Hopefully we can have it by June 2nd for you people to see. Okay, so it's going to be informant with. We want to talk to the people who own the presence of the restaurants, tell them what they have to do. We're gonna bring in a professional most likely and tell them about the loudness of the music, try to bring it down a little more, right? And try to cooperate with everybody in the area. Otherwise, there may be other problems. But I don't want it to go any farther than that, but that's where we're headed, okay? So, you know, we will have someone down there. If we have to put a guy on duty from 6 until 2 or 3, whatever we do, 7 to 3, we'll put someone on for that,
Appreciate it.
okay?
Excuse me, Carla?
Thank you. I also agree, I was gonna say about hiring a special police officer, and I think that's a good compromise. Also, what about one of the digital signage that we have, maybe putting that down by Miller Street, just reminding people to be courteous of the neighborhood, that summonses will be issued, that there is, you know,
With the big
police.
light in your window.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. I'm just
Or
saying.
maybe not, but maybe by the establishment, you know, that perhaps.
Maybe in between the two establishments, between the
And I
inlet
think we should,
you
you
know.
know, I think just because there's so many
Yeah.
problems at one establishment, we shouldn't be penalizing all the rest of the establishments.
Thank you, Carla. Don?
This ordinance is just for 2 days,
Yes.
Memorial Day weekend and that. But the discussion we're having here now should be taken up in June when our liquor licenses are renewed.
We
You
have
can
to take a
put
look at that,
restrictions.
at that time,
You can put
that could
restrictions
be,
on.
that's part of what we might be talking about.
And that's the time to talk. because
Okay,
then
but
we can
it's,
put
right now,
restrictions
that's why I
on
said, by June 2nd, we'd like to have this information all ready to rock and roll.
Okay, I guess what, I'm sorry, Kim?
I have one last question. If we do put a special police officer on, is that billed to the establishment or does that come out of my pocket?
We don't know how that's gonna
Okay.
be funded, but hopefully it doesn't come out of it.
Okay.
So, at this point, kind of to summarize what I think we're doing, we have an ordinance for, noise for, 2 weekends, one in the beginning of summer, one at the end of the summer. And at this point, we will, from the council, direct Joe to provide, enhanced supervision of noise specifically to the establishments for the Memorial Day event.
Right, and if the Memorial Day event, I think we should add to it, if there's anything that comes up, the September
Is out.
date
Is
may
out
be
the
in
window.
jeopardy.
We can't do that within the ordinance, but that becomes a commitment the
will have to
council
rescind.
makes.
Right.
Yeah, we could rescind the.
Close the public hearing.
On for final reading and adoption, is ordinance 0-14-13. An ordinance amending section 3-2.3 enumeration of noises to permit the playing of outdoor music until 11 p.m. on Sunday, May 25th and Sunday, August 31st.
Do you have a motion?
I'll set the motion.
Offered by Mr. Redmond,
I'll second it.
second by Ms. Ryan. Ms. Ryan?
Yes.
Mr. Redmond?
Yes.
Mr. Francie?
Yes.
Ms. King?
Yes.
Motion carried. Can we go back to
Okay. At this
resolution?
point, I'm turning the meeting back over to the council president.
Okay. Ms. King, if we can go back to resolution R14-128, this is the resolution for the emergency notes of $100,000 for the master plan.
Okay.
Someone like to offer?
I'll offer it.
Offered by Mr. Redmond,
Second?
second by Ms. Kane. Ms. Ryan?
Yes.
Mr. Redmond?
Yes.
Mr. Francie?
Yep.
Ms. Kane?
Yes.
Motion carried. And then we had to add one resolution, resolution R14-132, whereas the Borough of Highlands is in need of legal services concerning matters which arose with the Atlantic Highlands Regional Sewage Authority. And whereas the Atlantic Highlands Regional Sewage Authority was represented by Patrick McNamara, and whereas the borough wants to retain Mr. McNamara for those matters in which Mr. McNamara was involved on behalf of the Atlantic Highlands Regional Sewage Authority, but which to the borough is now involved as a result of the dissolution of the sewage authority. Now therefore be it resolved that the borough approves a contract for these matters in which Pat McNamara was engaged previously. Legal services, legal review retains Mr. McNamara at a rate of $150 per hour to be allocated with Atlantic Highlands. Be it further resolved that Patrick McNamara shall comply with the provisions of the local unitated play law, Borough Code regarding public contracting in chapter 270.
Basically, if you want me to just explain it a little bit. Mr. McNamara represented the regional authority. There's still a couple ongoing legal matters. Those matters have now devolved to the two municipalities. So in order for consistency, we're just hiring Mr. McNamara to continue on those matters.
Would someone like to move it?
I'll move that.
Offered by Mr. Franci,
I'll second that.
second by Ms. Ryan. Ms. Ryan?
Yes.
Mr. Redmond?
Yes.
Mr. Franci?
Yep.
Ms. King?
Yes.
That takes us to committee reports. We have finance.
Pat, do you have anything for the finance committee?
No, not yet.
Just want to welcome Pat and everybody, that's Pat. There you go. All right, Joe, public safety?
Some of the report to the council packet, just a couple quick things. First one has to do with some scanning going on. April 1st, we received a report from a business owner, an unknown person representing himself as basically now employees, attempted to collect cash from an outstanding electric bill. Obviously, basically now doesn't do that, so it's pretty good advice, something like that happens. The second one comes from the DEA. Apparently, there's a scam going on where criminals have gotten hold of databases for people who order prescription medications online. Called these people and told them that it was illegal, and if they didn't pay a fine online or over the phone, they would be subject to jail time. The DEA does not contact you by phone. Please don't wait. Call us immediately. Let us know something like that. We'll contact the DEA. They will come out and investigate that. We have two new programs. One, we just initiated a community outreach program. It's to encourage more interaction with the police and the public. The interaction will benefit both. Officers will be proactively interacting with the general public more so at businesses, at sporting events, school functions, et cetera, et cetera. If you haven't noticed, every ship has had walking posts since we initiated this. Seeing it or not, every ship's been out there walking, at least an hour or two a day, day and night, including the midnight shift. When officers come to calls now, most likely you're going to give them a business card, where they're going to write their name on it, a phone number, a case number, in case you want to reference it later on. The second program is new; it's not in the agenda. This is a proactive effort on the behalf of the Highlands Police Department. The program is being offered by the Atlantic Highlands Municipal Coordinator, Heather de Blasi, in cooperation with Prevention First. It's going to be held on Mondays here at the elementary school, on Mondays from May 12th to June 30th. It's designed to educate teens as to what constitutes an abusive relationship, explain to them exactly what dating abuse is, and give them skills and resources necessary to avoid dating and relationship abuse. This came out of a request by the police department, because over the last year and a half, we've investigated several sexual assault cases where mostly young girls were contacted online and met men online for a relationship and were later abused. So this is a program we come up with Head of the Body and Prevention First. Okay, that's my report. The rest is on the council.
Thanks, Steve. Timmy, administration?
Okay, I'll make this very brief. We spoke briefly in exec about some of the concerns that we have with facilities. Superstorm Sandy, the FEMA reimbursement project, we got notified today that we got an additional $809,000 reimbursement that was deposited today from the debris removal. So those struggles of reclaiming that money keep going on and on, but we did get notified today that we got an additional $809,000, which we were approved for. There's other funds out there. I think the total now is coming close to $1.8 million in reimbursement, and we're still seeking more. We still have outstanding projects that they're reviewing and some projects that haven't been tended to as of yet. As far as other info, the Workforce Development Program, we are waiting confirmation of grant funds for various positions. We've been notified that the county did receive a pot of money, but they haven't allocated that funding down to the local municipalities. We are eligible for funds. They've kept us in the mix. To what extent, we don't have any confirmation on. Other item we found out just yesterday before, within the last 2 days, we were awarded $28,220 zoning assistance grant. That was a grant that we had applied for or showed an interest in back in October. And what that'll do is give us some assistance to the zoning board secretary, and the zoning office. It also will give us additional monies. We've experienced an increase in advertising and things like that due to the zoning board activity from Sandy. So it actually is a grant that gives us additional funds to carry out those roles as well, because our budget on some of those lines has been pretty depleted. So I'll be getting you further information, but we will be advertising out for experienced and very experienced folks from the zoning board, and it may also be able to help in addition to doing some meetings as well. So we're really excited about that. There is no match, and it's an approximately 12-month program. Also give us a zoning assistant who can be on the street a number of hours a week just doing spot checks with some of our issues that have arisen. We're going to have some more feet on the street, so to speak. So I think it's a real positive. I'll move on to Public Works. I know they've been busy with, I know folks won't believe it, but they are trying the best they can to get potholes repaired. They're out there almost every other day. We do have 3 guys. I've had 1 on vacation and 1 out sick a couple days. So I've relied on the workforce that we have. They were active afterwards. After the storm, we got numerous calls about tree limbs, and we had a major tree slide down by Pompomora Park that blocked the entrance to the park. It was 4:30 on a Friday, I think, so we had to deploy them to take care of that. But the guys are out there. I want to mention the next borough-wide actual brush pickup will be in June as scheduled. So if you're not sure of your zone, look on the map online. There is a zone map. We try to tend to work with the residents as best we can in the meantime, but the next actual brush is in June. I'm happy to report that M&S Waste Management, our new contracted garbage service, we've been getting, and I'm not saying they're perfect, but we've been getting very favorable responses from the residents who said even their garbage cans are being treated very nicely. So I don't know, but I do appreciate, and I think the residents do appreciate. One thing they did remind me, though, that they want us to get out publicly is do try to get your garbage out the night before, as per our ordinance, or earlier in the morning, because they are on time. They want to get in, they want to get out, and they also have GIS systems and cameras, so when someone tells them that they had their can out there, they have a way of disputing that, and I'm not getting in the middle of that, but they're trying to work with our residents as well. But right now, they've been very responsive, very receptive. They check in with our office every day before they leave town. Every single day before they leave town. At that point, if there's an issue, we try to resolve it then. So I think they've been very much what we needed. I will report to the residents today. I know some of the concerns of Veterans Park. We did get temporary snow fencing. It was an option that we thought may work as a potential deterrent. It might not be the optimum, but it is blocked off. We'll see how long that lasts. I do want to thank Monmouth County for providing the fencing to us. They said, hey, come get, I couldn't purchase it from them, but they loaned it to us. So we did that installation today, and it should do what we needed to do until we can get to that project. On to building and housing, just want to quickly, 37 permits were issued in April. They received $11,500 plus in total construction fees. Total value of construction performed during the month of April was $286,772. Year to date, they have 151 permits in, approximately $68,000 in fees, and value of construction is $1.956 million. So that's what they're reporting, and those reports go directly to the state, and then we get charged on percentages of that of fees that then go up to the state. Zoning office had 11 approvals, 2 denials, a lot of other letters that went out to help people with grant funding or some clarification, so we're very fortunate that that's been taking place. Floodplain, there were 10 approvals and 8 flood zone determination letters. 3 substantial damage appeals. People still are appealing if they want the substantial damage letters that may have been given, and they do have a right to appeal, so the zoning official has to do that. Code enforcement, 32 CO inspections. They did pass over some of the violations over to zoning that had to be contended with from a zoning matter. There were 7 summonses issued. Of those cases that were heard, 2 of the cases were adjourned and one I believe was found guilty and fined, and I don't have the specifics of what that case was, but we're continuing to try to keep up with that. Recreation Department, one of the big things they want to announce is that the summer rec program will be running in July, from July 7th to August 15th. The school has agreed to allow us to run our Summer Kid Fest here. Applications for children who wish to enroll in that program start May 19th up till June 20th. You have to actually apply for the program. We also have openings for staff in the rec department. Lifeguards are a critical need. Out of all the applications we have in as of today, we have no lifeguards that have applied. So we're trying to get the word out. We're reaching out. We have 0 lifeguards that have applied to date. There's also going to be sports camps for the summer up at Henry Hudson. Kids on the Move and teen night activities keep moving along as well. From administration, and this is my final wrap-up, out of the 21 projects that I am still working on, 4 have been completed, 2 are almost completed, 95%, and 14 are definitely underway. And that's at various stages because we're grabbing information for the flood mitigation, the grant programs, but a lot of progress has been made in a couple of short months, so we keep pushing away. Millennium Strategies, they have 5 grant applications in process for us. There's a municipal beach access and vulnerability study that can be applied for. It's up to $25,000. That will give us funds to do potentially a vulnerability study along our shoreline. It's something that may be funded. We're going to apply for those funds. The beach access would be the public access so that it all conforms with the public beach access that the county has and some of the recommendations from the state. They're also, I think they're working with the police department on a Port Authority grant. That's some security monies that may be able to come into C Street. I'm not sure what extent that is, but that's monies that are out there. There's additional NJEDA monies, but there's been a hold on the application process. But Millennium's been instructed from the people that they've contacted to keep that application going forward. So even though they're not really accepting and making any commitments because the dollar value far exceeded what was available, they're encouraging communities to keep pushing their forward of additional projects. DOT Safe Routes to School, we are looking at various sidewalks. One of the items that did come up was potentially the sidewalk leading up to the Shadow Lawn Trailer Park again. We know that was revisited a couple years ago, so that may be something that we're ready to push again. We don't know how successful that'll be, but there is a lack of sidewalks and safe walkway up there. It's a complex project. The DOT Transportation Alternative Program, the TAP program that we had mentioned, we are putting in for the bike path improvements that were identified through the long-term recovery plan. That's one option, and I think we're moving with that because we can apply for 2 programs. The other is perhaps to do streetscaping in the areas that the EDA program might not hit in terms of that plan. So there's some value of matching that up, and the deadlines are coming quickly, so those were identified, and it looks like that's what we're going to be applying for. We're working with the Borough of Atlantic Commons, as mentioned, through the Regional Sewage Authority transitions. Internally, we've updated the policy and procedures manual, thanks to our attorney as well, but we're also initiating updated policy and procedures for purchasing with our new purchasing agent. So staff's coming along and understanding the rules are changing for the better, so that's a good thing. Also, I was contacted by the Twin Lights Historical Society. They have a potential for wanting to run a 5K run in town in August. They haven't given me the specifics of the details, but I wanted to bring it up just as a point of they're going to forward all the details to us. They're partnering up with one of the running organizations in the Jersey Shore that offer those type of events, but I told them we have to fully vet, what it is they want to do. And that's it.
Fest weekend.
No, I think in conjunction with the Clown Fest.
Yeah.
No.
It's the Clan Fest
I
one.
Yeah.
have 2 questions for
Yes.
Administrator.
Yes.
So that 800,000, that is going where?
809,000.
Yeah.
That comes back to the borough. Money's already spent. So that's part of.
Well, we bonded to spend the money, so how are we spending the 800?
What would happen is, if I may, we would reserve it on a balance sheet and use that and pledge those funds to pay down the debt. So when we roll up the debt next year, we pay it down.
Okay, there's no way for us to, There's no way for the funds to drift into our surplus.
No,
No.
it's,
Okay, I just want to make sure of that.
No.
There was another question, you talked so
Or-
long.
And the Ranger game's on too, I'm hearing, so.
That's the problem.
I had,
Get back to it
I had a question.
you can come back to it.
when you think about it.
It'll come back.
Okay.
Sorry.
Anyone else? I'm sorry I talked so long.
And actually, Sam, did you hear it? Do we want to bring up the Clan Commission under this, if we just want, because appointments and stuff like that, if people are interested?
Yeah, we can, that would be under other business, but I'll
Okay.
take care of that now if you want.
I had it under other business, but I didn't want to bring it up.
The Clam Decoration Commission does have members, and all of the membership does expire at the end of this month. That's the way the commission was set up. So if anyone's interested in serving on the Highlands Clam Decoration Commission, you go to the website or go down Borough Hall, get the citizen participation form, put it in. There are mayoral appointments and consent appointments from the governing body. So if anyone's interested, please let it be known.
Thanks, Tim. Okay, Tara, library? Nothing to report. No library. Carla, Highlands Business Partnership?
For our marketing and events committee, we began our distribution of the 2014-15 visitor guides. We attended the Grade 5 Borough Bike Race on May 4th. We distributed guides to the Monmouth County Tourism Office, the Garden State Parkway Visitor Center, Twin Lakes of Navasink, Sandy Hook Visitor Center, C Street, East Point Condos, PTAC, and our local businesses. The Jersey Shore Visitor Convention Bureau and Monmouth County Tourism also distribute them for us at any shows that they attend. We secured billboards and for Taste the Highlands, Clam Fest, and Oktoberfest. We're planning the 14th annual Seaport Craft Show, which will take place on May 25th from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Taste of Highlands will be taking place on June 28th from 12 to 5. We have 20 participants this year, establishments. Tickets are $40. They're available and can be purchased online via PayPal or at the establishments. Ticket holders receive a keep-safe backpack and have access to transportation on the party limo bus. Proceeds will go to Veterans Park improvements. The 20th annual Clam Fest this year is going to be July 31st to August 3rd. And we have some special entertainment booked, new bride company, new game company, expanding the food court 120 feet. And we have some specialty bags that we had made for the Clam Festival. Diane coordinated with Mrs. Elliott and the Henry Hudson art students today, and they painted the windows. We had a contest for Paint the Town Pink, and the students will receive cash prizes for first, second, and third place, so we'll go around and judge the paintings. For visual improvement, the Bay Avenue Maintenance Program will soon be underway. We've completed a new sign project at Cornwall Square, and we'll be refurbishing the Veterans Park sign to be consistent with the highway sign. We have 6 new benches installed from the Adopt a Bench program, placed in Veterans Park and 1 in Huddy Park. Wayfinding sign program and memorial sign installation is scheduled for next week. We're organizing a subcommittee to submit a spreadsheet with property maintenance nightmares in the district to the town. And for economic development, we attended a New Jersey District Revitalization Management Digital Downtown Seminar on April 30th in South Orange. We also participated in Creative Highlands on May 2nd. Some of the waterfront business owners attended a FEMA meeting coordinated through Mr. Hill, and we are looking forward to the Rutgers Design Studio presentation next week. Thank you.
Yes. Is there anything on shared services at
No,
this time?
not to report at this time. We're still moving forward with the potential of the regional sewage authority agreements.
Okay. Under other business, I believe we have to table 1, mayor's appointment to the planning board. Yes. Okay. Other business number 2 is Genevieve Pauley Memorial Fund, Foundation fundraiser. And I don't know if I know in the past, I think we've done an ad,
Yes, we have.
so if that's.
Do you know what size you wanted to do? Or just copy from last year?
We just wanna do what we did last
That's
year.
what we've done.
Yeah.
Whatever
And
we've
what
done.
about tickets?
If people wanna go, it's,
It's June 7th, but I know I cannot attend, I have a work function, I'll be frowned upon.
Carolyn, I'll talk to you, but if anybody else is interested in going, it's on June 7th.
Mhm.
And you can find out by contacting either the Genevieve Hawley Foundation or contact one of us at Borough Hall, we'll have the information. Genevieve Hawley was an educator here in town, and it was her son, Joe, who passed away this week.
Okay, Tara, website committee?
Okay, we still don't have it all together. We had said we would wait till the 15th. Al Pritchard has filled out the form and sent it in. Jen Olson wants to be on it. I'm waiting for the form. She'll do that. We worked very well together on the committee. Kim would like to be involved, but she can't. So she sent us a list of suggestions. I'm still looking for some more people to be on the committee. So if anybody's interested, download that resident involvement form and drop it off at the town, and we'll make a decision on the 15th. Contact you all. Thank you.
Okay. Community garden request?
Yeah, Council, I got a request, the gentleman actually called me with concern that the community garden that had been located on Bay Avenue was not going to be in play any longer. The request from the gentleman, although I explained to him there's a lot that goes into putting a community garden together, even if it's on public property, his suggestion was to use the ball field across the street. I don't know that that would go off very well, but he did put that request in. I assured him we will look at this. I don't know that we're going to be able to do something in time for this season, but the gentleman wanted to know if we would pay the insurance for the old community garden, because that seemed to be the issue, and I said we hadn't been approached, nor I don't know that we could actually do that. So I bring it to your attention in case, again, you hear of and I think if we could find an appropriate spot, I'm not saying for or against, but I think it takes a little more planning. Yes.
The Suzanne Eckert is running a community type garden up behind OLPH.
And they've had that there for years.
They've had it there for years, and it's still ongoing. She grows food to go to the food pantry and then sells at the farmer's market when there's a surplus. The proceeds go to the farmer's market.
This gentleman was looking to actually get a plot so he could grow.
And I think she has them.
Okay, I will refer him. Okay.
If you give me his email, I'll send you Suzanne's
You know
email.
what, you can pass that along.
I'd like to say, I mean, I think the idea of the community garden is wonderful, but the idea of having it on the ballpark, I mean, it's so dangerous there
You
to
couldn't-
walk. I mean, forget about putting on the field or anything, but to have people walking across the highway and all that, I'd be very nervous about it. But let's look for another site, let's see what we can do.
Is there anything legally that we wouldn't be able to?
There's a whole process that we'd have to go through.
No. I'm talking about the garden that Maureen and Arnie had run for a couple of years. Is there anything that's illegal about the town to pay their liability taxes for them in order to provide a community service?
We've never been approached.
It just seems a little.
I was just curious.
Yeah. But we'll look back.
They're not doing it this year, or not happening?
Yeah, their insurance went up a lot. Sandy-esque, I'm sure.
Okay. Community electronic information signage?
Yeah, we've been in contact, I guess it was more of a solicitation, but it is something interesting that we're going to follow up with. There's a CEIS, it's a Community Electronic Informational Signage Program. Apparently what the company will do, and I think you all have the packets, some interesting design of doing community electric sign, and the pictures don't do it justice, but they're saying that they can come in and potentially do these signs, very fancy, you know, brickwork, nice looking digital message signs, that they'll do it for us at no cost. I'm one of those folks that always says,
It says whatsoever.
It says, no, but
but there's a
putting the
way
sign
that,
in,
right.
but not to have contract, to have the electronic messages 24 hours a day.
So there's a lot more
They
research
want us to pay for.
we have to do. One of the things, of course, you know, they would go to local businesses to see if the business community or residents. But it's an interesting concept. They actually, you know, they do a lot of good information too. They do the Amber Alerts and emergency information. There's a lot of community value.
Right.
And they do want them at key points in the community. Yes.
What's the name of the company?
CEIS, Community Electronic Informational Signage. So I bring it to your attention, we are going to look to get more information from them, but again, it's something that came across, and we'll explore and unturn every rock to find out what the real costs are. Just to give an update too, on our message signboard down at the Borough Hall, it was recommended or suggested to see if we could get that sign back up and running. Part of the problem is you need a direct line of, that's not a real fancy signboard. You need a direct line of service, meaning the remote was located right in that office that was able to connect to that signboard. Unless we come up with another way to do it, the repair of that sign is estimated to be about $2,700, not inclusive of trying to come up to the way, you know, of getting the apparatus there to be able to remotely log in and do what needs to be done. So we are looking at it. The company has contacted us if we're interested, but again, that's something right now I think we have to put on hold.
DPW seasonal, summer seasonal help?
Yes, as annually, we do request, and the Public Works guys, you know, I work closely with them. We will be putting information out that we will be looking for seasonal help, probably starting late June or late May if we get applicants. We already do have applicants on file as well, and generally we try to carry them to about Labor Day. Again, we're going to be looking at the budget very closely to see what we have. We did use seasonal for storm. I believe that was under the snow removal budget, so we're going to see what we have exactly. And just wanted to give the council the update that we will be looking to hire at least 2 seasonal help for the summer.
Okay. New Jersey American Water Grant, and I believe this is for the rain barrel installation project.
Yeah. One of the programs that we applied for, Millennium Strategies, I will say, recommended that we apply for this highly competitive grant. It's a $10,000 grant. We did come up with an idea, and what it is we'll be able to do a purchase of rain barrels. And for those who aren't familiar with rain barrels and the concept of capturing water and reusing it, it all goes along with stormwater management and protecting the resources. The key to this is it's only a $10,000 grant, and there will be a limited supply of rain barrels. So we are developing the criteria. Millennium did remind me, they said, we just write the grants, you figure out how to implement it. And I understand what they're saying, because there's going to be limited resource. There will be criteria, though, that will be established on how one can apply. And there will be an educational component. There is no match, and New Jersey American was very happy to award us that grant this year.
Mr. Francie remembered his question. We got to hop on this.
You talked about Millennium.
Yes.
And at this point, Millennium has delivered probably 5, 6, 7 grants.
Yes.
All right, but let's remember these grants are nibbling around the edges of our major problems. We have 12 major long-term recovery goals that process committed to, and Millennium should be working on grants towards those goals. And I'm not hearing that. I really am. I'm not.
They are.
And at this point, I would propose at this point, Millennium make either a summary to the council or a presentation at the next meeting.
Not a problem.
Specifically addressing those long-term recovery goals.
Not a problem. As you know,
I, all of these things that are big bucks. It's nice that we got $10,000 for a rain barrel, but it's
I'm
not helping
reporting,
as much.
I'm reporting what we get, and
Tim, I
they,
understand.
they do have, the one grant that I talked about, the EDA component, if that comes through, they're keep pushing, I'll get you what you want though, they'll come in, do a presentation.
And the focus is the long-term recovery steps, there's 12 goals, right?
Understood.
Okay.
Okay. Request to amend resolution R14-110, designated rep for MCPB master plan review. And I believe that is just replacing Carla Braswell with Ken Braswell.
Is that the meeting during the day?
Does anybody have a problem with that?
No. When are those meetings starting, and are we gonna get contacted, or are you gonna tell us, Tim?
No, they should be contacting you directly, not me. I'm not on the committee. I was not appointed.
So,
The Monmouth County Planning Board should be contacting you directly.
They
They
have it.
will, I spoke to them, they will, I contacted
Okay,
them.
fine.
I told you resolution next meeting.
No, there hasn't been noticed, but they will contact us directly, that's why it has to be the formal change.
We have to do the ones now.
A resolution now?
Yeah.
You want to put one up first?
You want to add the resolution R-13-143? Is that what?
The R-14 dash.
110?
110,
Is the one that we
No, no.
did.
Right.
Oh, okay.
What do we have to know?
Ah.
130?
Well, the food is already-
136, this would be 133.
So R-14-133,
Carl.
Yeah. resolution kicking Carla out, no.
Okay.
Resolution amending
I move-
R-14-110 to replace Carla Cefalo Braswell as an alternate with Ken Braswell.
Offered by Mr. Francie,
Offered.
I'll second it.
second by Ms. King. Ms. Ryan?
Yes.
Mr. Redmond?
Yes.
Mr. Francie?
Yep.
Ms. King?
Yes. Okay, next up is Dale with the review of estimated costs for repairs to Veterans Park.
Yeah, this was something that came up a couple months ago. Council had asked for an estimate for what the repairs actually, what we thought they would be, a ballpark. So I went back to what we gave FEMA last year, over the summer, and overall it's about $400,000 worth of repairs to the park. Now keep in mind that includes permit fees, that also includes, about 70% of that is repairs to the boardwalk and the revetment along the front. So, and that's something that, that was thrown out there without doing like a thorough investigation on it. There was something that was thrown out there as an estimate of what you're looking at to repair this. Once you get into design, if you choose to move forward with anything on the park, once you get into that, that cost can come down, depending on what you find once you start, really digging into it. So right now you're looking at about $400,000, safe estimate. For repairs, again, 70% of that is the boardwalk and the revetment along the front, along the water's edge. And then the rest of it is, electrical repairs, redoing the sidewalk, redoing some of the storm drainage, fixing up the basketball court, moving the electric out, away from the water's edge. So, I mean, it's basically the, soup to nuts what the project is about.
Okay.
All right?
Wasn't there someone that was going to do the basketball court?
It was something a while back. I think they did.
Do the boardwalk.
What's that?
There was somebody who was, when Red Corn was involved, who was looking to get the boardwalk donated by Trek.
And never saw a full commitment.
The firemen, the volunteer firemen who did the park were semi-committed to doing the boardwalk, but that never came.
If the materials were provided.
We have the
You
material.
have the material?
No, we don't have.
No, if we have.
We have the
Oh, okay,
material.
all right, okay.
They built the one in, Seabright,
Uh-huh,
around the,
the park,
Playground.
full park.
playground.
Yeah.
So they were committed, but we didn't have the materials at the time.
But just as an aside, the park for Danny is absolutely crowded on a nice day. There's gotta be 50, 60, 70 kids almost every nice day. It really is nice to see. I mean, there's cars parked everywhere trying to get there. It's a great thing.
That's like playing on it.
I'm sorry.
Okay, that's okay. Okay, number 10, New Jersey DEP grant public access plans for beaches.
That was part of my report earlier,
Okay.
that's one of the grants we are applying for.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't notice number 11 was Declaration Commission
Right.
membership.
We covered that.
Well, let's talk a little bit about that.
Okay.
The Decoration Commission, its sunset date going out of existence is May 31st. We're sending a letter to the commission. They have until that date to submit their recommendations. At this point, it's been dragging on. And we'll consider the recommendations at the first meeting in June, what that is. But we are pushing to get some recommendations from them.
Okay. Madison Capital Partners Project sewer connection?
Yeah, I'll take this back. Basically, in front of the planning board is the Navasink Capital Partners project, which is the old Paradise Park trailer park. One of the conditions of the board in the resolution was for the applicant to investigate installing a new sewer line from the project location down Shore Drive and bypass the Waterwitch pump station. All right, so we worked with them to go through the process, running a line from say Willow Street down to the manhole on Bay Avenue, just past the pump station, isn't feasible. To run it at a minimal slope of 0.3%, you would be about 3 foot below the invert of the system that's out there now, which is why the pump station is in place, because everything is so shallow. With that being said, the matter then gets reverted back to the borough to decide how you want to proceed from there. Mr. Bolliman has stated he'd like to tie in at Willow Street to the system he has now. Looking at the proposed theoretical flows that he has on site compared to what he had prior to Sandy, the flows are about 4,000 gallons a day less. So that's something for the borough to kind of digest, think about how you want to handle it. The jurisdiction, like I said, switches over to council from the board at this point. And then also, one of the conditions is the potential for a developer's agreement. If the council decides, they would like to do so. That's where we are right now.
Yeah, I think we need to move swiftly on that resolution, where to solve that problem, Mr. Bowman, that project.
Well, we're, right, we have to get the public portion.
Well, I just suggest moving fast, because he's not happy about the situation.
You also had to give the TW, I won't go into that, but that just got to us May 2nd.
And it's not complete.
It's not,
Okay.
Let's wait for public comment.
Okay.
May 2nd.
Okay. There's gotta be,
Excuse me, just one moment. At this point, you just can't, you engineer, just can't drop it on the council that way. There's gotta be some sort of
No, there's got to
thing
be
that the council can.
right. There's got to be more discussion with council. I'm just saying that's the process where it stands right now. It's not saying that you guys have to take action one way or another on your own tonight.
We're not gonna do the design.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Right. But what it does is the jurisdiction falls back from the planning board back to council.
We all understand that, but
Right.
at this point, we need a plan to approve.
Absolutely.
And I'm suggesting T&M and KD work with Mr. Bolliman and get something that is sound engineering-wise to handle the flow.
Absolutely. That's been the intent all along. It's just something that the board came up with for as a condition of the resolution, which we have to abide by, is to have them investigate running that 2,600 feet of main or whatever from that site down to bypass the Waterwitch pump station. That was a condition from the board.
Am I hearing you say that you want the council to eliminate the need to comply with that planning board resolution?
Absolutely not.
I don't think we can.
No, I'm not asking for that. Just they did their due diligence to investigate what the board asked them to.
Right.
And they weren't able to comply with
So
that.
this goes back to the planning board to relieve him of that condition.
Right, but the jurisdiction for how this is handled, ultimately, doesn't stay with the board. It goes to the borough and how the borough wants to handle it through their infrastructure.
I got a question for you, Del. How old is the sewage line that runs along Shore Drive? How old is it?
Well, the lines, that's a multi-part question, because the original lines, I've got maps from 1920s and these lines are on there, okay? So a lot of the lines are the old vitrified clay pipe, 100 years old. But keep in mind, back in 05, 06, I believe it was, we rehabbed that whole area of town, sanitary sewer, basin. There was 8 basins the sewer authority put the town into. Basin 8 had the most inflow and infiltration. We had a project to rehabilitate that entire area, which included Bay Avenue, Central, Ocean, Shore, Willow. It went back into Paradise Park. There was a small station back there. So that whole area of town's been rehabbed.
So, and since then, has there any problems being with the flow of the trailer park and the marina? Any problems with sewage coming down from that area with the usage of the pipes that's in there now?
Not that I know of. I know there's been issues with the station, with the Waterwood station, during significant rain events.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as those lines, I don't know if there's been anything down there. Timmy, you might know better from the boys calling out Oswald or anything.
We have some reports along Matthew Street, but that seems to be an ongoing issue, isolated. I don't think it's directly tied back to that one. And we do have some issues from time to time with grease and other things near the Havana.
Right, well, that's it. But okay, so now we're using the same line.
Right.
And it's 4,000, how many gallons?
About 4,000 gallons a day less.
Less.
About the equivalent of 14 houses, thereabouts.
So what are we talking about? I mean, come on.
This is coming from the board. This is something I came up with. The
I don't
board
know
had asked for
how-
this to come to be investigated. That's what they did.
Because if you're not using as much, and if we still have the same lines, I don't see why we just can't hook it up where it is. Why you want to run 2,600 feet down the road, and it's, I mean, it's crazy. It's just
Right.
crazy. I just
Right.
don't.
And like I said, it's not feasible anyway. I mean, since it had a minimal slope, you'd be about 3 foot below that line on Bay
Yeah,
anyway.
so it's not going to work anyway.
No.
So why you use what you have?
Right.
That was the resolution from the board.
Wait for public comment. Yeah. Wait for public
All right,
Hold on,
Doug,
Wait for public comment.
Okay.
Okay. There's gonna be you want to announce it? There's gonna be a town hall meeting for the Rutgers studio presentation. And it's gonna be May 14th at 7:30 PM in the OLPH gym. I don't know if you want to elaborate on it.
No, that's fine. Yeah, it's on the website, Carol?
I had to be put on shipping.
Okay, you have to check.
Okay. And also the garden club is gonna have their flower sale this Saturday. So you can get your flowers for mom anyway. Okay? All right, public portion, Kim Skorka?
Kim Storka, 315 F Shore Drive. This calendar that was in our agenda is incredibly awesome, and I wonder if these dates can be put on the website calendar. I know traditionally that calendar is for council meetings, planning board, zoning board, but this kind of information would be great to have available to everybody.
Yeah, I don't see why we
Is
can't
that-
do it.
Here's we can link it.
So we look up.
If I can get Stan,
Yeah, okay,
Okay.
that's fine.
Also, last night I was at the Army Corps of Engineer meeting, and there seems to be a disconnect in the announcement of meetings. There were people there who found out about it at the last minute. They didn't know about the first meeting where units 1 and 2 were discussed. And I want to know, is there some way that the town can use either the reverse 911 or I don't know if you have a bank of emails that you could blast email to let people know that these meetings are coming up. You know, Mayor Nolan's asked before that he wants people to participate, but we can't participate if we don't know. And, you know, we can only tell so many people through the blog and Facebook posts, but, you know, people need to know. Is that something we can do going forward?
Well, I can't answer that specifically.
Okay.
We can certainly try. I think it's
I think we have to ask it of the Army Corps
We
to
have-
give us
But I was gonna
ample
say,
knowledge
that's
of a
really,
meeting.
I mean, I know
yeah.
that one was short notice, but, you know,
The one prior, though, I will say, that was adequately noticed, I think we had 8 people at.
right, because I was there for that one too. Again, I think.
I do agree, we need to get the word out, and I do take responsibility for that last meeting. Unfortunately, due to facilities, we were trying to get the facility when we could. We had commitment from another facility that then had a conflict, so we had to switch gears. School was on vacation. It was the perfect storm for not having, but we decided to push it, stick to that date. We got the commitment, and I think going forward, the discussion was last night as well that sometime within the next probably 6 weeks, we'll probably have more of a town hall type meeting and have the Army Corps present as well. So they seem to respond more to town hall meetings in general, and we'll see what we can do.
Okay. I have a question on Veterans Park. As part of our open space committee, one of the projects we thought of was to fix the boardwalk. And Dale came back with a price to do everything in the park. Is it possible to find out just what it would cost to fix the boardwalk? Because then we should say just that one piece.
What was 70% of the 400?
Yeah, basically, if you had to replace, you replace obviously all the decking, the little amphitheater, the railings, hurricane straps, some of the stringers, and then do the revetment along the front, ballpark on that, just initial look at it was about $250, $260. Now, again, that price could come down once you start really digging into it and see what you really need to do. But that was something that we had to get FEMA on the fly.
Right.
All right. So yeah, and you could certainly, you could certainly piece it out.
I'm looking for a Band-Aid fix.
No, you could certainly piece out if that's the decision. There's no harm in that.
Okay.
Right.
Right. I mean, if that's okay with Tim to just get
Well, I think we have another meeting June 11th, right? Is the next meeting we set? So we can have Dale, maybe you could piece it out for us just a little bit so we can see just those parts, and perhaps Pat, you can give us an update on how much is in the open space fund that we would have to work with, and maybe we can get a little creative with that if that's something that this committee chooses to move forward with.
I think one of the concerns on the boardwalk itself was how do we make that structure more flood resistant at less cost? And that's the direction I've actually asked the engineer to look at as well. There may be a lower cost initiative to get a decent, because we're all talking about maybe Army Corps and what's going to go on in a number of years, and I know the council has voiced that concern as well. I don't agree that we shouldn't do the electric repairs and the other things that are necessary, though, and I do say there's parts of that, the sidewalk areas, there's not a lot of things in there that you wouldn't want to do, but I think we need to put the package together and get it moving.
Okay. Do you have a status on the Transit Village application, or is that still in a holding pattern?
Still in a holding pattern as of right now.
Okay. Do we know when that'll be moving again?
Do I have an exact date? No.
Okay. Is there anything specific that's got it on hold?
Everything else that we're working on right now,
It's just a lower priority?
I wouldn't say lower priority, but yes, at the priority level that we're at, there's many, many things that we're working on.
Okay. I've been hearing a lot, reading on the internet, and I know you can't believe everything you read. Some people are claiming that the fire department has a lot of money in the bank. and who knows? But I know that our finances are in dire straits, and I know that we have a bond on the fire truck, and I was wondering if it would be possible to maybe ask the fire department to hold another fundraiser to help pay off the fire truck. I'm trying to come up with ways to cut spending, trying to be creative, and that was just one of the thoughts that I had.
We could ask Lieutenant Blue back there. I don't sit at that table anymore.
Bring it up.
Okay.
I'm just the
I would appreciate it. Thank you.
Alrighty.
That's all.
Okay. Doug Card. 28 Shrewsbury Ave, sorry.
Tennessee Capital Partners, Mr. Bowman made it very clear to me in the meeting, and he said they're required to move all the way down to the sewer line all the way down to Waterways, no walk away from the project with investors. So I beg you guys to help work with them to get it resolved.
Oh, absolutely.
I think it's a beautiful thing for this community. We don't want to lose it over something like that. Second, just a question, I know we're helping out Seabright with the fire trucks in our, do we have proper insurance on the building and those trucks? God forbid, that building should catch on fire. You don't get stuck.
We're in the same municipal JIF.
Alright, so we're covered?
Yes.
Yep.
That's it? All of that?
Just being good neighbors and helping them out. They also have trucks, I believe, in Long Branch.
Yeah,
all over the place. So. Okay, Barbara Iannucci, 28 Shrewsbury Ave.
This has to do with, we just got awarded a grant for, I think it was the transportation state.
DOT.
Shrewsbury
Yeah, local aid.
rehabilitation. So congratulations on getting that pulled off. but can you kind of just give like a 2-sentence summary of what that project entails?
Basically, it's resurfacing the roadway, the entire length. Now, with the entire length being from Bay to, say, Miller, right? What we've done in the past is when we put a project together like that, and the DOT doesn't fully fund, and they hardly ever do. But what they've been receptive to in the past is possibly phasing it, just to get the dollars to stretch further. So that's something that we need to look at and see if maybe it's more beneficial, cost effective right now, and basically use more DOT money by doing it in 2 phases. So you find a breaking point. We did that on Bay Avenue down by Huddy Park. The same thing. They didn't fund the whole thing. They backed out of it. They funded half of it. We were fortunate to get CD to cover the other half. So almost that whole project got funded. This would be a similar situation. If the borough wants to phase it, we can certainly approach DOT and go that route. But yeah, $210,000 is one of the highest awards that you would normally see at a DOT. A lot of it was 100. Normally you see about 150, 160, but the 210, it was a it was a nice amount.
It was nice, and it was like 75-25, and not until we complete the project, you're responsible for the 25, right?
Well, what it is, it's the 75-25 is 75% up front, 25% you get at the completion. So you could put in the 75% voucher when the project goes to construction. So you have some capital to start paying out the contractor.
And then you get the 25.
Right, you get the 25 at the very end. But it's not a 25% match. Basically, your match would be anything that the DOT doesn't cover. Maybe design costs. Maybe if the roads is say a half mile and their money's going to take you a quarter mile, then the borough covers the other quarter. But that's where, like I said, where phasing would come into play, and it's been effective in the past.
And then another thing was that 2-day torrential downpour we had. I've never noticed the corner of Shrewsbury and Bay and Veterans Park flooding the way it did. Will this help that? Will this project tie anything in there?
It's something that we could look at. We have money in there for drainage improvements, but a lot of that is that there's no valves, there's no control on those outfalls that go out through Shrewsbury Avenue. And then you've got the water table so high there. Any kind of a crack in your storm lines, any kind of separation in joints, the water's going to seek its own level and come up through. Ultimately, they kick right back through the grates and the inlets, and now the intersections are flooded. Even on a bright sunny day. I mean, you see it as much as I do. Even more so, bright sunny day, this corner of Shrewsbury and Bay is flooded. If you have a northeast wind near high tide, water comes back up to the inlets and you go.
Surprised me because I've never noticed it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Last rainfall.
Yep.
And that's what.
And it could be something. It could be something that happened with the lines. Maybe something separated a little further. That's something that it's going to be ongoing, especially since Sandy. It's something ongoing we have to keep an eye on, storm and sanitary.
Okay. And also this rainfall, I did look up some of the criteria for being awarded, because I know Middletown has recently gotten the rain barrel garden project. You needed 2 partner affiliations. Do we know who that would be in town? Like, is it the garden club or?
It was identified probably in the application. There was a group from Sandy Hook that provides the educational component, and the recreation department. There was partners that had to be initiated on the application.
Otherwise you couldn't get the grant. Okay. I was just curious to know. That's all. Thank you.
Okay. Mary Prisavelli, E10 Hillside Court. I probably said your name wrong.
Oh, I'm sorry, I thought we just had to sign it.
Well, it looks like it's your first meeting, so welcome.
Thank you.
Don Mandrot, 268 Bayside Drive.
My question to Dad. Who the hell ever designed Bayside Drive?
What now, Don? Every time you come in Bayside Drive, somebody screwed something up. What part? What do you want to know?
They put a new wall up, but that water's still coming up. Now, all winter, the town had to come up every Friday and take 6 inches of ice away.
Okay. Do you know, Don? Do you know why? Do you know why they had to take it away, Don?
Pardon?
Do you know why they had to take it away? The water's designed to flow down the gutter. The gutters weren't clean, right? The first storm, they covered the inlet. No. I was up there, trust me. All right? The inlet was covered at the bottom. The water couldn't get in the inlet. Then they cleaned that, and the gutters weren't clean. So the water caught part of the gutter that was filled up, came out in the road, and iced up.
And water runs right up through the freeze-out part where the thing was built. These guys told me now they didn't fix the water. They said, I told them before they paved the street, fix that spring coming out of the ground. They didn't fix it. They paved over it. It came out to freeze it. Now they told me when they put the wall up, that'll take care of the water. Well, they put the new wall up, didn't take care of the water. It's still running, and that's never going to stop that spring. And the other thing is, my son's house, the driveway, the curb they put in, which you people did a wonderful job on, it's the lousiest curb I ever seen. And nobody ever knew, designed a curb like that. It's 12 inches up.
Yep.
They filled it with stone.
Yep.
We come out one day with the car, you make a sharp turn to get on Bayside Drive, the wheels got stuck. Then they come up and they put this black grinding in there.
Yep.
They put it over the top, pounded it down. Now we got all that black in the house.
Yep.
And on the stairs and everything. And they said the other day, the guy said to me, go to hell, we ain't doing nothing.
Don, I got to tell you, I'm glad you brought that up.
And the
Because
sidewalk coming out of his
your
house,
son was given an opportunity for different material. He requested the clean stone, even though the contractor told him he requested the clean stone. Trust me. And the contractor said it was going to be too deep. You're going to get stuck. He said, no, everything will be fine. First day he got stuck. So then they said to go put back road stone. So what he got is what he wanted. All right? What he got is what he wanted. It seems like every time I have somebody quiet up there, you come down and start stirring things up again. You really do. Your son got what he wanted. That was exactly what he requested. He was fine. And you know what? If he wasn't fine now, he would still be calling. He's not calling. It's you that's calling. So he's fine.
House next door,
That's
when
fine.
you come out of my son's steps.
Okay.
You step up and then you step off and you drop down 12 inches.
All right.
Don't tell me that, because nobody makes a curb which is slanted. We lost parking space up
That's what the
there.
curb's slanted for. Again, that's what they wanted.
Yeah, you guys did a botched job on it.
Okay.
A real botched job.
All right.
Okay, guys.
And we're gonna break our neck up there. Mrs. Karnikowski fell when she went for a mail the other day. I had to pick her up. She's 92 years old.
She was very happy on the product that was done.
Sued it down.
Okay.
All right. Eileen Scanlon, 2224 Fifth Street.
Hello, good evening. I would like to second what the other lady said about the Army Corps of Engineers being well advertised. I think this is really, really very critical to a lot of people, and I think, I don't know, maybe it's never going to happen. Maybe it's all federal government, twisting and turning. But if there's any serious possibility that this is going to go ahead, we need to really pay attention to it, and the whole town needs to pay attention to it. I know there was some discussion last night among some people that said, who would decide finally whether Highlands would ever accept these barriers, and there was talk that there would be a referendum of some nature. Is the council agreed on that? Is there going to be a referendum on that?
I think we haven't even talked about that. A lot of it.
One of the things that I was just thinking about a referendum, they were talking about, registered voters. It occurs to me that, and I am not one of these people, but that a lot of the people who would be very affected by that are not registered voters in the town of Highlands, but are property owners. And I just, sort of throw that out for, I think they have a very important interest in all of that, as well as, with registered voters. I think the council should, I don't know what the procedure is, form a committee, assign somebody to this whole Corps of Engineers thing, because I think it's really important. That would kind of be my statement. And I like that reverse 911 for any further meetings, etc.
And I think maybe too, maybe we can include the dates if we can coordinate it with the newsletter.
Oh, sure.
Moving forward,
Anything
because,
we can get it right, sure.
I
mean, it's really very critical, and we need to be, like a real procedure for dealing with it. And I'm not saying for or against or
Well,
anything.
that's what I mean. I think we
We
have
haven't had dates from the Army Corps of Engineers.
I think we have to pressure them to give us, even if it's quarterly, give us quarterly dates, and then we have time to manage a facility.
And one of the other suggestions that came up too was that they should do a presentation at a time when summer residents would most likely be available to attend. And I would second that as well. I think that's a good idea.
And we can also ask the mayor, perhaps the town hall type meeting setting during the summer months, I don't know.
My only other point is possibly this has been going on and I never noticed it. But I got caught up with the traffic coming out of the ferry terminal the other night, and those guys are aggressive, fast, nasty drivers.
Some
I
ladies
guess
do.
the police, monitor that. They have to be doing something illegal, right? I don't know. I just a point that maybe
They do come around very fast.
they come very fast, and if anybody was in their way, you'd be toast.
Got the fire lane open again.
Huh?
Got the fire lane open again. Got 2 entrances coming out now.
Oh, okay. I can have them look into it.
Gotta be
I
cleaned
wasn't
up.
right down by the ferry. I was up where Shore Drive meets Waterwich, and that's
Yeah.
where I saw very aggressive traffic.
Yeah, especially if one's going straight to go down Miller and the other zips up. They don't even stop. Well,
Miller? I'm talking about coming around
no,
the back.
yeah. If one's going to go straight through that, and then the other one's
Towards Miller.
Towards Miller.
And it continues up and over the bridge too, because sometimes I'm walking over the bridge and I'm afraid that if they like lose control, they're gonna go right in.
I get that they've had a long day, but they can't.
We all have, right?
Right.
So,
That's all for me.
okay, as long as Joe, Chief's here listening, so he came here.
I'm sure he's aware of it. Kind of was new to me.
Monitor that. Okay, Melissa Pedersen?
My question was for the mayor, and he's not here, so.
Pat? Carolyn Brouillon, I see you
You like
spelled
the
it out.
letters?
Yes.
One little thing and one not so little thing. The little thing, the council packets, could we just make sure that they're outside while you guys are in an executive session? That way we could read through them
Oh, okay.
and be more prepared to, because it seems like we sit down and you guys are going, okay, consent agenda, and we have no idea what's going on.
That's not a problem.
The not so little thing is the update on the Borough Hall and the Rec Center. Is there any update on either of those buildings?
Yes. At what I can disclose, we had a conference call with FEMA yesterday, and there's some preliminary maps that are out now that are in the new FEMA rep's eyes and the floodplain administrator in direct contrast to what our plans were. What that means is we're going to be sitting at the table with FEMA officials from the state and really looking at. One of the things they said to us yesterday was prepare the critical facility, meaning the Borough Hall, has to be prepared at the 500 flood level because it's a critical facility. If that were to hold true with all things being equal at this table tonight, that building would have to be elevated 19 feet in the air.
That's a 500.
19 feet in the air or 19 feet?
Elevation 19.
Elevation 19.
Right, so that's above sea level. It's not
Oh, yeah,
19 feet in the air.
right.
Well,
It's like my
They
house,
have it in-
where
my house
we'd
is
be,
14 feet.
where we'd be
BFE, but it's 8
eventually,
feet in the air.
What do you force something?
We waive it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's-
we'd still have, so those things now, and that was just in a conference call yesterday that came to fruition, certainly throws a twist onto the Borough Hall that we've got to get the interpretation solidified. The NFIP gentleman that was on the phone was very adamant that that's the way the interpretation of the regulation. We questioned why this information is coming out now when all we wanted to do was get confirmation that what we were doing is on the right path. And that holds true for the center, not to the degree of the Borough Hall, because it's not a critical facility, but it does throw a little wrench into, they were just gonna sign off on our crawl space mitigation and let us go out to design. So we're setting up a meeting, we're requesting to meet out at the office with all representatives at the table, not on a conference call. We want to know who we're talking to and be at the table and get the right answer for the behalf of the borough. Because the council can't, in all honesty, can't make a decision to that level if it means throwing away money or not getting reimbursed to the maximum extent possible. Because again, the taxpayer is going to be bearing that cost as well. So yesterday's conference call did not go well. I was actually very excited about the day. I thought we were going to get resolved at least on the one portion, and we addressed both. And again, it's an interpretation and also has to do with our ordinance. We may have to reword part of our ordinance to mitigate one of the areas of concern. So I think that's doable, but it just, that's the update. And exactly, went into discussion on that as well.
So the trade-off between continuing to rent the trailers and continuing to not do any minor just to get back into Borough Hall, is that a wash or is that?
I couldn't say what you consider a wash. There's more damages to that facility than most people realize, perhaps pre-Sandy. So there's other issues. It's not as cut and dry as Sandy would have you believe. There was issues that we were dealing with that facility pre-Sandy. I still think at this point we're going to be in the trailers at least for another year, in my opinion, unless other options come up.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Offered by Mr. Franci, second by Ms. Kane, all in favor?
You say that. You should have heard us yesterday.
Okay.
Oh, you can keep it on.